years I've become really interested in alternative lifestyle, and about a year ago I learned about this sedentary lifestyle that we are now currently living, where 80% of our time we spend sitting. And to me that was just sounded way too high, but when I actually thought about it and saw where I spent my time, it was quite clear that I was spending that much time sitting. And so I guess I didn't really do the research until fairly recently, and it's like mind-blowing, the research that's being done on sitting. To start with, we used to have to hunt and gather for our food, and we no longer have to do that because food is readily available and abundant to us, where we can just go to a store and buy the food that we need. And so there's the first thing that really took up a lot of our time, and we didn't have time to sit. We didn't have time to rest, and also we didn't have technology, which is a huge thing now. But I guess that's the biggest difference, is that we no longer have to hunt for our food, and so that time, that free time that we have now, is spent either in a car transporting to work, at work just sitting, or you come home and you sit and watch TV. Pretty much the only time we stand is when we exercise, which for most of us is probably less than an hour a day, I would guess, and an hour a day really isn't enough either. We've developed this lifestyle, but we don't even understand how it's affecting us. And so when you look back at people and how they would sit when they had a little bit of free time, they would squat. And so they had unbelievably flexible hips that most of us don't have anymore because we've been sitting so much. And there's this muscle in connecting from our pelvis to our lower back that when we sit down and you do it like repeatedly for a long period of time, you shorten it, and so you no longer have the flexibility to squat. So you really have to start paying attention to how you're choosing to sit, even when you are, say, in a car, right? You don't really have a choice in a car, I guess, but when you're at home watching TV, you could be squatting. There's a whole bunch of different ways of sitting that really add to opening your hips, as well as just making sure that this whole 90-degree turn that you're usually sitting in isn't as stressful on your arteries. Because when you're sitting at a 90-degree angle, you are literally squishing your arteries, and you're making it unbelievably difficult for the blood that's rushing down to go where it needs to go, because then it has to make this really sharp 90-degree turn. It's not efficient, and also when you're sitting, you have high blood pressure for that time, even though maybe you're not high blood pressure, but just the way that the whole body is in relation to how you're sitting is so terrible for what we biologically need and how we can support our own health, I guess. Our values have definitely changed over the years, and partially due to what I was talking about before, about having access to a lot of things readily, and you don't have to, like, even for example a dishwasher, right? You can throw your dishes in there and they will do all the washing for you. There's not that much that's left for you to do besides whatever your job is. For most of us, that is some sort of 9-to-5 job where you go in, you sit down, and you do whatever the task is, whatever you were hired for. So I guess far enough back, right, when we slowly transitioned to sitting in these chairs, which I think was only about maybe, I forget. I'll link all the videos that I've been watching recently below, and you can watch them as well. But however long ago it was, there must have obviously been some tension or some adjustment that our body had to go through to adjust to sitting at a 90-degree angle, as well as internally, right? There must have been something that felt off or felt uncomfortable, right? And so we obviously have ignored those signs, and we've developed from then so that we no longer have those signals because we ignored them. So it's past the point of like injury. You're continually injuring yourself, but you don't even know it because we've adapted to it. I guess it's good that we adapt, but it's also, it's like we're adapting, but it's still not ideal. It's not ideal for us to be sitting in a chair 80% of our day and crushing our arteries and organs. It's just, it really, really doesn't help the body to do that. Alright, so I'm going to end the video here. I will link the videos, like I said before, down below if you want to go watch them. There's a really good TED Talk on this topic, and a book that I just finished is called Move Your DNA, and it talks all about sitting and posture and ways to loosen your hips up and loosen that muscle that's been shortened by sitting so that you can, you know, squat and be more flexible in general. Also, if you don't want to squat or just stand, you can also sit on the floor. It's much better for your health to sit on the floor than in a chair. I will be making another video about this topic shortly because it really interests me, and I will see you guys